Good afternoon, students. I am your physics teacher and my name is Rakshita. Today we are going to discuss the first chapter, Effects of Electric Current. Say, in our daily life, we use different forms of electrical energy. If you look at our kitchen, you can find many kinds of electrical devices, such as you can see here electric bulb, electric fan, mixie, grinder, induction cooker, electric stove, oven, storage batteries. Is it? For the working of all those devices, electrical energy is given as input source of energy and output energy comes in different forms. For example, if we provide electrical energy to a bulb, it gives us light energy, and iron box provides heat energy, is it? Mixie provides mechanical energy. That means if we provide electrical energy to those devices, it will convert it into useful form of energy, and this is known as effect of electric current on that device. Got it? The effect of electric current on heater is heating effect. Effect of electric current on bulb is lighting effect. So in your textbook, a table is given where you have to write the energy change occurring in different devices. See here, list of devices are given. What you have to do is you have to find the energy change occurring on those devices on applying electric current. Okay. See, on providing electrical energy to bulb, what happens? It converts it into light energy, is it? Then a induction cooker converts electrical energy into heat energy. Storage battery converts electrical energy into chemical energy. In mixie, electrical energy is converted into mechanical energy. Fan, why we are using fan? For circulating air in rooms or cooling purpose, we are using fan. So here electrical energy is converted into mechanical energy. And oven is using for heating and baking purpose, is it? Here heating energy is electrical energy is converted into heat energy. Hair dryer we are using for drying the hair, is it? So here electrical energy is converting into heat energy. In loudspeaker, electrical energy is converted into sound energy. Electric iron, energy changes, electrical energy is converted into heat energy. So this is important. In exam, for 1 mark they will ask to write the energy change. Okay, they will give the name of device and you have to write the energy change occurring. Okay. Next we are going to see the heating effect of electric current. See, you can see here many devices. All these devices are working on the basis of heating effect of electric current. You can see here water heater, stove, electric iron, then heater, hair dryer, heat guns. All these devices are working on the basis of heating effect of electric current. Now let us see how these devices convert electrical energy into heat energy. Okay. For that we have to do an experiment. See, in this circuit a 6-volt battery is connected to a nichrome wire using connection wire. See, this is nichrome wire. Nichrome is an alloy, which means nichrome is formed by the combination of metals such as nickel, chromium, ferrous and manganese. That means combining these metals we will get an alloy called nichrome. Okay, is it clear? So why we selected nichrome will be understood at the end of this class. While passing while passing current through this nichrome, what happens? It becomes red hot. This means that some kind of energy in the circuit is converted into heat energy. So let us see which form of energy was converted here. Look at this circuit once again. In order to measure the potential difference between the point X and Y, a voltmeter is connected. Voltmeter is connected parallel to the nichrome wire, and an ammeter is connected to measure the current in the circuit. Here always voltmeter is connected parallel to this resistor and ammeter is connected in series. What is parallel and what is series connections you will study in the next class. Okay. Now let us see what is electric current. Okay, see, electric current means the amount of charge flowing through a particular area in unit time. That means how much amount of charge flows in 1 second. That is called electric current. So electric current I is equal to Q by T, where Q is the charge and T is the time. The SI unit of this charge is coulomb, which is represented by the symbol capital letter C, and the SI unit of time is, you already know, second, and the SI unit of current is ampere, which is represented by the symbol capital letter A. So electric current means it is the amount of charge flowing through a particular area in unit time. Suppose if 10 coulombs of charge flowing through the circuit for 5 seconds, then what will be its current? So current is equal to 10 coulomb divided by 5 seconds. That gives 2 amperes. That means 2 coulombs of charge, that means 2 coulombs of charge flows through the circuit in 1 second. That is called electric current. Okay. Now we learned current means flow of charges. But what makes the electric charge to flow? Because a charge cannot flow in a copper wire by themselves. Means it cannot go alone, just as water in a horizontal tube does not flow. But if it is connected to a tank of water kept in the higher level, then there is a pressure difference between the then there will be a pressure difference between the two ends of the tube, and water flows out of the other end of the tube. For the flow of electric charges in a wire, there should be a difference in electric pressure, that is called potential difference. That means for the flow of electric charges in a wire, there should be a difference in the electric pressure, and that is called potential difference. This difference in potential may be produced by the battery, and the chemical reactions in the battery generates potential difference across the terminals of the cell, and when a cell is connected to this circuit, the potential difference makes the charges in motion and produces electric current. So we can define the potential difference between 2 points as a work done to move a unit charge from one point to another. That means how much amount of work we have to do to move a charge from one point to another. See, for example, in order to move 1 coulomb of charge from the point x to y, we need 10 joules of work. We need 10 joules of work. Then its potential difference will be 10 volt, because in order to move 1 coulomb of charge, 10 joule of work is needed. Therefore, potential difference is 10 volt. In order to move 2 coulomb of charge, suppose 30 joules of work is needed. Then its potential difference will be 15 volt, because for 1 coulomb of charge, the amount of work needed is 15 joule. For 2 coulomb of charge, 30 joules of work is needed. Therefore, 15 volt will be its potential difference. In order to move 4 coulombs of charge, suppose 100 joules of work is needed. Then, in order to move 1 coulomb of charge, 25 joules of work is needed. Then, 25 volt will be its potential difference. From this, we can write potential difference V is equal to W by Q, where W is the work done and Q will be the charge. When the potential difference when will the potential difference becomes 1 volt? Only when the numerator and denominator becomes 1, is it? So V becomes 1 volt when work done to move 1 coulomb of charge is 1 joule. Got it? And here the work is performed by the battery. Hence we can write power supplied by the battery P is equal to work divided by time, which is taken as the equation number 2. So power is equal to work by time. From the equation 1, look at that, we can write work is equal to potential difference into charge. So substituting in equation 2, we get power P is equal to VQ divided by T. We know that charge divided by time is electric current. So we can write P is equal to VI. So energy supplied by the battery to the circuit in T seconds will be equal to PT is equal to VIT. See, P is equal to VI means energy supplied by the battery in 1 second. Suppose the energy supplied by the battery to the circuit is T seconds, then PT is equal to VIT. So this energy supplied by the battery gets dissipated in the resistor as heat. You got it? The energy supplied by the battery gets dissipated in the resistor as heat. Therefore, we can write, instead of writing PT, we can write it as heat H is equal to VIT. According to Ohm's law, we can write potential difference V is equal to IR, where I is the electric current and R is the resistance. So substituting in equation 3, we get H is equal to VIT. Instead of writing V, here we can write IR. So IR into I into T gives H is equal to I square RT. The heat developed in the circuit is equal to the product of square of the current and resistance and time. From this we can see that the heat developing in the circuit is depending on the square of the current, resistance of the wire and time of flow of electric current, and this is known as Joule's law of heating. And from this we can understand that heat developed in the nichrome is because of its high resistance of the nichrome wire, and this process of heat developed in the circuit on passing current through it is known as Joule's heating or ohmic heat. Now we understood that the factors influencing the development of heat in the circuit depends upon the current in the circuit, the resistance and the time of flow of electric current. So considering the above three factors, scientist James Prescott Joule conducted a study of heating effect of electric current, and he formulated a law known as Joule's law. So Joule's law states that the heat generated H in a current carrying conductor is directly proportional to the product of the square of the current I in the conductor and the resistance of the conductor R, and the time of flow of current, that is H, is directly proportional to I square RT, or H is equal to I square RT Joule. So I is the current in ampere, R is the resistance in ohm, and T is the time in second. So this is very important. In exam they will definitely ask with what is Joule's law, and write the mathematical expression of Joule's law, that is H is equal to I square RT. Using Joule's equation, we can derive one more equation for heat. For that we need we have to apply Ohm's law. We know I is equal to V by R. Substituting in the Joule's equation, H is equal to I square RT, we get H is equal to V square by R square into RT. Here instead of writing I, we are writing V by R. So we get H is equal to V square T by R. So these are the three equations for finding the heat. The first one is H is equal to VIT, second one is H is equal to I square RT, and H is equal to V square T by R. So all these three equations are very important for solving the problems. So you have to remember all these three equations. Okay. Now you may understood why we used nichrome as heating coil. Okay. So the reasons for using nichrome coil in the heating coils, because of its high melting point. That means it will not melt at normal temperature. If you increase the temperature, also it does not melt. Then another reason is the high resistivity. High resistivity, it will means it will convert more electrical energy into heat energy. That's why this nichrome wire is using in the electric iron box, then soldering device, then water heater. In everywhere you can see nichrome wire. And another feature is the coil can remain in red hot condition for a long time. Due to these reasons, nichrome is used as heating coil in many devices. See, here you can see the nichrome wire in room heater, soldering iron, hair dryer, immersion heater, electric iron, electric heater, electric kettle. In all these devices, the heating coil is used as nichrome. See, in page number 11, a table is given. According to the on the basis of Joule's law, you have to complete this table. Okay, you have to use the equation H is equal to I square RT. After that you have to fill this table. So this is your homework, and after completing this table we shall discuss the some features of this table. Okay.